I just know their plan, man. This is you see it too.
Right.
They call out smaller guys.
Yeah.
Guys that aren't in their weight class. Guys with big names, which is smart. I mean, they're building their own. I would say it's very contradictory to what it is with boxing, because they want to be respected in the boxing world, but they're not doing anything like really that's fully in the boxing world. They're making their own platform in the boxing community. They're basically they're monetizing on the celebrity boxing matches, I guess, but professionally. It's like they're just building their own little lane.
100%.
It's like you can't, if you're a big boxing fan, right? You watch boxing, you watch all the guys that's coming up, or you watch all the legends that's fighting, right? You watch like Canelo and all them. But with Logan and Jake, they're building their own lane with these celebrities, and they're making everyone talk about, like, oh, you want to be a boxer? Why don't you fight a real boxer? But why would they, when they could fight like people like Tyron Woodley, who hasn't boxed before, but has a name? I mean, like Ben Askren, who has a name, has the accolades in a totally different sport, and then it's weird.
I think the reality
it's good
is,
though. It's good.
Well, it's entertaining as fuck, and Showtime is probably fucking stoked about it. But I think the reality is they don't want to get ahead of themselves too much. As in particular, Jake. I think Jake and Logan are in different paths now.
Yeah.
Because I think Logan is really on that celebrity boxing, like it's entertainment path. Like he fought Floyd. Right. If he fights again, it'll be something that's entertaining.
Right.
Jake is, in my opinion, like it seems like he's going a little bit more down the route of like, I am trying to be respected as a real boxer. I'm just not quite ready to fight a real boxer yet.
Right. And also, he's taking it serious. He has like a really good team around him. I looked at his team. He has like BJ Flores, who was he was a good fighter as well, and then Jay Leon Love, who was also in like the Floyd Mayweather camp. Al Heyman, Little Circle, and he was a decent boxer. I think he was a champion. So he has like, the right people around him that tells him probably straight up like, yo, you need to do this. Like, you can't fight this guy. So
because it's strategic. Because like you build up this buzz.
Yeah.
4-0. Am I gonna fight Tyson Fury or whatever? Tommy Fury. Which one is that guy?
Tommy Fury.
Tommy
Fury is his little brother.
Yeah, right.
Here's how I see it though. I feel like Jake, he is he's obviously a pay-per-view star now. And the whole stigma of fighting UFC fighters is dying out. I don't think anybody wants to see that anymore.
He's got to fight a real boxer.
I mean, he does. It's just like, who is he gonna fight? Who is he gonna fight anymore that's enticing enough? Like, I mean, is he gonna go? Is he gonna do a rematch with Tyron, or is he gonna fight Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz? Like, I don't. It's just people already know these guys are scrappers, but they're not boxers.
Do you think he would fight Tommy Fury?
I don't. I just don't think he's ready yet.
See, I thought that going into that fight last Sunday, but after watching the 4 rounds with Fury, I don't know. I actually kind of think now, like, maybe that is a relatively even match.
Because
those dudes that Fury knocked out were nothing.
But they were boxers.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think, yes, he didn't do well against the guy, I think Anthony Taylor or something like that. He's shorter. But I think he had boxing experience. He was a boxer, and he was a UFC fighter as well. But I just think, I mean, you don't really know, like 4 rounds, and he still beat him. I don't know. I think if Tommy Fury had a full camp to fight Jake Paul, he would know how to fight Jake Paul.
Well, that's why I think Paul doesn't want to fight Woodley again, because I think now they've gone 8 rounds. Woodley can go back to the drawing board and say, all right, this is what I need to do better.
And he had some success against him. I was talking to a lot of my boxing homies who are trainers, and they fought before. They all said the same thing. With how much resources Jake has for just starting out, they thought he would look better in this fight. For how much resources, how much time on the spotlight he's had, if you think about it, like, yes, he hasn't fought a lot, which is fine, but a lot of these champions, these guys that we see now on like PBC and like DAZN, they've been in the spotlight also for only like 5 or 6 fights, like kind of like how Jake is. Like, but Jake's on a higher level. He's a pay-per-view fighter. He's a prize fighter up there, you know. So it's like you have all these resources. You have a champion training you. You have all these really good boxers training you, and there's still a lot of flaws. You know, there's still a lot of flaws, and I think it was shown against Tyron. Obviously, he won. I think like I said, with the judges, one of the judges gave it to Tyron, which is understandable in my opinion. Tyron was walking him down the whole fight. Jake was on his back foot the whole fight. He was kind of circling the ring, and Tyron was in the middle of the ring, just stalking him the whole time. And what bit him on the ass was that he didn't throw enough. He didn't throw his jab, which he should have. He didn't capitalize on that hard shot in the 4th, right?
Woodley didn't.
Yeah, Woodley,
when he got him on the ropes.
Yeah, and some people say that could have been a knockdown because he grabbed the ropes, you know, and a lot. I think the rules say you can't just hold on to the ropes to hold yourself up, or it's a knockdown. So I mean, it's just too many unknowns in that fight, too many questions unanswered, and I just feel like maybe they should run it back. I just don't know who to see. I mean, do you want to see him fight Tommy Fury? I don't know. I don't think that's going to be as big. It might be because he's a UK fighter, but
I think it just depends on how much they can get the shit talking going.
Yeah.
You know, which is again what Jake is really good at, is like building up the hype for this shit, because, you know, Tyron Woodley didn't really even do a lot of press going up to this, but it still was like pretty hyped up just off of his name.
His name
He's a holds volume.
5-time UFC welterweight champion. I guess he's.
But it seems like Fury is a little bit more media focused and willing to engage in that kind of shit talking, and so that's why I think that maybe they could go in that direction.
You know,
maybe they'll do the rematch.
That would be cool. But the crazy thing is, a lot of boxers that actually, you know, that are the same age range as Fury, they say he's not that good.
Yeah,
boxers say that,
right?
Actual boxers.
I just think it kind of like, it just looks like a fight that makes sense to me, because it's like you got this UK guy, he's this like pretty boy with a little bit of celebrity, like he was on that show or whatever, right? He was on Love Island.
Yes, yeah. I think
so. It's like it's almost like a UK version of Jake Paul. You know, he's like got a little bit of the fame.
He might be bigger than Jake Paul.
Well, he's definitely like more jacked.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? It's just like you could sell it in a way.
You can. I just, if I were in Jake Paul's camp, I think they've always talked about it, but everything just matches too much, like just height wise, skill wise, maybe. Mm-hmm. It might be too much of a peak,
right?
You know.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say too. Is that like they are gonna be very strategic with stringing this along.
Yeah.
Because they're getting millions of dollars every single time that they fight.
Right. Because who knows this next, if he does fight Jake, I mean, he could for some reason train really well and just outbox the shit out of him.
I think if Jake loses, really bad. If Jake loses, the $1 million paydays, pay-per-view fights are pretty much over.
And to be honest, Jake needs to knock out every opponent,
right, to keep the buzz alive.
Yeah, I mean, aren't you a little like, from the build-up, you know, he was talking about knocking him out in the first, second, third round or whatever. Even his whole team. And, and I mean, a lot of people were saying he was going to get knocked out because just based off what he did with Ben.
Right.
But obviously, they're two different fighters, and he lasted 8 rounds, and he kind of was on his back pedal the whole time. Which is fine. He knew he jabbed him. He, like, used his length and stuff. But, like, you're known as a pay-per-view knockout star.
Yeah, people wanted the knockout.
They want the knockout.
Yeah, people wanted the knockout. I guess after watching it, I'm fine that it went 8 rounds because now we know, like, okay, he has the stamina. Mm-hmm. You know, so that was one interesting thing. It was like, okay, like all of his fights have been like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And so can he really go 8 rounds and take a punch? Yeah. Now that is kind of answered a little bit. So if you're really looking at it from like the interested in boxing perspective, it's like, okay, that's another little interesting part of the story here.
Also, they're just marketing geniuses. I love how this is why I'm a big fan of it, even though I'm not a fan, but I am. Like Jake was talking about, you could see his tendencies, you know, especially with Logan 2 and the tendencies with hyping up the fights. before the fight, it was like, oh, he's a UFC champion, like kind of doing that. And then after, when he lasted 8 rounds and he got rocked a little bit, he's like, oh, I just went against a UFC champion.
Right.
Like,
Right.
You guys give me more time, like, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just it's funny how that, like, the two spectrums work with
Facts.
that.
Yeah.